if you're seeking freedom, mere evolution. Oh, if you're seeking freedom, you won't find it there.
His legacy is not merely American, it is universal. And we celebrate tonight the courage, the strength, and the truly divine consciousness that it represents. Here now are some of the memorable words and ideas that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has given to us to reflect on and to live by for all time.
Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. We must forever conduct our struggle on the high plane of dignity and discipline. We must not allow our creative protest to degenerate into physical violence. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force.
Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. I am convinced that love is the most durable power in the world. It is not an expression of impractical idealism, but of practical realism. Far from being the pious injunction of a utopian dreamer, love is an absolute necessity for the survival of our civilization. Someone must have sense enough and religion enough to cut off the chain of hate and evil, and this can only be done with love.
When I speak of love, I'm not speaking of some sentimental and weak response. I'm not speaking of that force which is just emotional bosh. I'm speaking of that force which all of the great religions have seen as the supreme unifying principle of life. Love is somehow the key that unlocks the door which leads to ultimate reality.
Dr. King often used the very language of battle to illustrate the ability of nonviolence to succeed in crisis over any other alternative. He said, "Nonviolence is a powerful and just weapon. It is a weapon unique in history, which cuts without wounding and ennobles the man who wields it. It is a sword that heals."
Dr. King delivered some of the most celebrated speeches of the 20th century, and I'm sure all of us have seen excerpts of them, perhaps many times. Dr. King, above all, was always timely. One of his most famous speeches was called The Promised Land. What stirred us so deeply about Dr. King was his honesty, his humility, and his pure humanity, which revealed much about the man himself. In his final speech, The Promised Land, Dr. King foretold of his own mortality and also the coming of a better America. And in that final speech, April 3rd, 1968, Dr. King said, in conclusion, "Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it doesn't matter to me now because I've been to the mountaintop. And I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen the Promised Land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the Promised Land. And I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord."
Freedom is yours if freedom you'll give to all give it freely, in freedom you'll live. Mountains that stand